Good afternoon. My name's Terry Fraser, and I'm the Senior Vice President for Designers Fountain. I was also originally going to be the committee chair for this conference, and I'm certainly disappointed not to be able to see everybody in Lake Tahoe. Today, I'm going to be introducing a session on working smarter, not harder, powerful time management strategies to boost your tech productivity. Steve Turner started his career in technology and has more than 35 years of business experience. Steve has shared technology and time management tools, techniques, and tips with thousands of professionals across the country. His speaking, training, and coaching has helped many organizations increase their employees' technology IQ and supercharge their personal performance. Steve has worked with well over 150 manufacturing representative firms over the past 15 years. His proven ability to leverage technology, including apps, desktops, laptops, and mobile devices, is of great value to anyone in need of greater sales, marketing, or productivity results. Please welcome Mr. Steve Turner.
Well, thank you, Terry. Appreciate the introduction. And also, as Terry mentioned, sorry we're not together live, but thanks to technology, we've got a great opportunity here to share with you the same type of information you'd get in person. It's really pretty amazing what we can do with technology, and looking forward to sharing it with you here today. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. Also, I want to mention that we want to keep today's session live and interactive. So if you have any questions, if you may know, the only bad question is sometimes the one you don't ask. So please feel free to interject and just chat us up, and our moderators can go ahead and get those questions to my attention. So you should be able to see my screen right now. We are recording this session. It will be up on the website. And it is all about, truly about working smarter, not harder. So if you're looking to work more hours post-COVID, you're in the wrong place, because we're going to help you to show you how to spend less time. And the reason why we're going to do that is because my company, Turner Time, as we've been doing this for 15 years, was born out of necessity. I'm formerly the EVP of a company called Clover Technologies Group, and we grew our company in a large extent based upon manufacturers, agent representatives, people such as yourselves that are representing organizations, different manufacturers, and we put together a team. I put together a team of 86 reps across the US and Canada. We were in an amazing growth spurt, but what happened way back in 2003, hard to believe it was so long ago, somebody asked me, did you get my email? It was one of our customers. And I said, did I get your email? He goes, yeah, Steve, I sent you 2 emails on Friday. It's Tuesday morning and you haven't responded to either one. And I said to him, just what I just gave him straight up answer. I said, well, I've been traveling on business out of the office. And he said 2 words that changed my business career. He said, so what? He said, Steve, I didn't hire you to find out you don't have control of your time or technology. And that really brought it to the forefront in my mind that even though I had even gone to school and done some time in college for computer science, I really wasn't leveraging my time properly. And he sent me a tape series by a guy named David Allen, who does a program called Getting Things Done. And I found it pretty helpful in some sense. And it was kind of like a Franklin Covey system. But what it did enable me to do was find out how to manage my email better, or how to find things quicker. And so what I found in my excursion there was, it wasn't just me, there was everybody else I was working with was in the same situation, all struggling with technology and not having a great and simple way to do things. So what today is all about is opening the door for you in terms of your productivity, to show you some ways that you can use any one of your devices to be more productive and save time. Because it's been said that we only use 10% of our brain, but we're really only using 10% of our technology. So we're going to cover things today like calendar and time management. Talk about calendar and time management. We're going to talk about how you find emails and information quicker, how to manage your email more efficiently. We're going to open the door on a number of these topics, and we believe you're going to find that there's a great opportunity to be more efficient and work smarter and not necessarily harder. And why that's true is because it's all about raising your TPQ, or your technology productivity quotient. We also call it your technology IQ. So we're going beyond the basic skills of turning on the computer. And we're talking about really how you can use those tools and those apps to be more efficient. And as you do that, you're going to increase your performance and be more successful. And that's what it's all about. Results. So here's a couple quotes from people that we've just put through our boot camp training. We'll tell you a little bit more about that at the very end of our presentation here today. But we've been very successful in helping people be more efficient with their daily activities and being more organized and find information quicker. That's what it's all about. And it doesn't matter, but we call our company Turner Time, and Turner Time is technology simplified and optimized for you. So that being said, I want to start out with a couple different examples of being more efficient with technology. And one of those is that as you're working with your computer or your smartphone, you've got dictation features built into that. And so, for instance, if you're a Outlook user, and the tips I'm going to bring up, folks, will work really if you're a Gmail user or a Microsoft user. It's all about being more effective. And if you have specific questions that I don't cover for some reason in here about your platform, just feel free to email me. My email address is steve@turnertimemanagement.com. And as part of this program, we're providing complimentary answers to your tech questions even after today's session. But what's really nice about Outlook and even Gmail is it's got built in a dictate feature, because as you're going to see in our session here today, I'm really not the world's best typist. So there's a great feature built in called the dictate button, which enables you to dictate your emails and have them translated into text immediately. New paragraph, new line. It's really pretty amazing what you can do with technology once you know the secrets. Period. New paragraph, new line. What do you think? Question mark. So that type of feature, which is built in and available to you, if you're not the greatest typist, can help out both on your computer and your smartphone. And those are the types of things that I started when looking at technology, I started realizing were already built in and I wasn't taking advantage of them. So that's available to you if you're a Windows 10 user through Microsoft 365. It also works on the computer in general. It's and that's Windows H. And then if you're an Apple user, of course, you can use the Siri dictation feature. It's available to you on your Mac if you didn't know that. Of course, it's available on your iPhone and iPad as well. But the point is there's these dictation features that actually get better as you use them more, using artificial intelligence to recognize your speaking. Just like if you're into using your stylus, you can get better with your stylus by having your computer or your smartphone or your tablet recognize your writing and have it in that improved mode, so it's constantly getting better. Because our goal for this type of training and this type of information is to set a mindset for you of continuous improvement. Instead of saying, oh no, there's a new update for my computer or my smartphone, it's actually a positive because it can help you be more effective and more efficient. That's the whole idea with technology. And there's a myriad of ways to save time on your computer. That's just one example with the Windows shortcuts with the Windows H or the dictation feature. And if you're on the computer, another great feature to use is that if you're an Outlook user, I know we have many of the people that are members that are Outlook users, but whatever email program you use, one of the great things about a Windows-based computer is it gives you the ability to right-click. So I've got my Outlook icon down here. I'm going to go over to Outlook. And normally what I would do is I would just go over to Outlook and probably get distracted by looking at what came into my inbox. But what's really nice about technology is it gives you some ways to do things quicker. So I can right-click this Outlook icon, and I can go ahead and hit new email message right from here and just save myself from getting distracted. So I didn't jump into my inbox to get myself distracted. I could just do it right from that screen I was on. And that's the right clicking feature. So if you're a Windows user, one of the greatest tips I can give you is use right click to help discover what's available to you on your computer, and you'll be even more productive. And that same type of idea, as we're going to talk in today's sessions, one of the things we're working to help you avoid is getting distracted, because there's really so much going on in our technology that you might find yourself being pulled in multiple different directions, right? And you're ending your day, you're going, wow, where did my day go? It's 5 o'clock already. So if that's happening to you, distractions are key. And what I want to help people see is that you can be more focused and more intentional by reducing some of those distractions One of those is being able to send an email from your computer or your smartphone or tablet without having to go look at what's in your inbox. And so on your phone, I'm going to show that how to do that here in a second. And this is my little crew here. This is at the Chicago Architectural Boat Tour from about 2 years ago. And I thought I knew time management before but I didn't really know it until I really had the girls. So, but anyways, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to show you a way to actually show my iPhone screen on the computer screen here. It's a cool app called AirBeam TV. And now I'm going to go ahead and connect to that right now. And that's going to enable me to show you my screen here. And whether I'm using the Gmail app or the Mail app or the Outlook app on my phone, I always get the ability to use what's called the long press. This is a feature many of you might not be aware of, but you can see here all my icons on my iPhone. If I just gently rest my finger on the Mail app, a little short menu comes up. You might not even have known that. And that works for virtually any app on your iPhone or your Android phone. The same feature is available for Android users. And as you can see here, it gives me the ability to do a new email right from that screen without having to go look at everything in my inbox. Because you saw it came up for just a second, but now I'm in here and I can go ahead and send my email off to somebody. I'll just send it off to Al on my team. Call him Albert, and Tess will just put test on this. And then I go ahead and I send that. And now I can go back to my inbox if I like. And I can also, as I mentioned to you, just gently rest my finger on here. I can also search my emails. I can look at my unread emails. If I use the Outlook app on the phone, the Outlook app, the same thing. I can gently rest my finger on here called the long press. And as you can see here, I can do a new event, a new email, or I can even view my calendar. So if you are using the Outlook app on your phone, you may have found that when you go into the Outlook app, it takes you right to your email, which is a cause for distraction. But instead, you can just gently rest your finger on it and go right and view your calendar right from there. So very well done. So the point is that your phone is just like your computer in that they're building a lot of special features into here, and you may not know what they are because nobody's ever taken a moment and started showing you not just one or two quick tips, which is great if you pick a few of those up. But what our real idea in this training and coaching and what Turner Time does is getting habit change to a greater degree so that you can find yourself not just being a little more productive today, but when you start adding all these tips and strategies, you're going to find yourself being much, much more productive over time. And when people go through our full boot camp training, they're saving anywhere from an hour or two per business day per employee. It's pretty amazing. And just to show you a couple other apps that you have on your phone that you can use this long press feature, you can do that on your text messaging, of course. You can also do it on your settings menu to get your Bluetooth or Wi-Fi without having to go in there and track it down. So some really great features with this long press that's been built into your phone, and that can help you be more effective and productive. So I'm going to make sure that we keep things open to questions. So if anything comes up and you have a question, you know what the only bad one is, folks? The one you don't ask. So please feel free to go ahead and chat us up if you have any questions, you want to find out more about a specific thing, or maybe it's not something you're familiar with at all, and we're happy to answer those questions. So the whole did you know concept is to be more effective with technology by showing you these ways to do things. Another great example of that is if you're a Outlook or you're a Gmail user. In Gmail, it's called email templates. In Outlook, it's called autocorrect. So I can actually set up my Outlook computer so that when I type out a specific phrase in my my Windows computer, I can type, like, for instance, my mailing address. Instead of having to type that out every time, I just type TTMA and hit the space bar. And that then brings up my whole amount of text right there, as you see. Or maybe it's, please let me know if you have any questions. So instead of retyping those types of phrases all the time over and over, I've got the ability to just type a few letters and have that information popped up. That's called autocorrect. So what we're going to do to make this session more usable is we're putting up on the website a link to this training little package I've given here, so that it's not just about what you see on the screen here. And we are going to have the recording available after today's session, but we've actually put in here on page 25 how to use that feature. Actually, starts on 23, called Outlook, the autocorrect feature. And that's available both on the Windows version and the Mac version of the Outlook program. Or as I mentioned, if you're a Gmail user, it's called text reply, or actually email templates. So these features are available to you. So we put a lot of great information in this handout. That's a leave behind as a PDF, and it's going to help you get started with these things. One of the things that I've always found frustrating previously was I'd go to a session, maybe it's on site or maybe it was online, and I'd take a lot of great notes, but my handwriting is terrible, so I could never decode the notes, and I could never find those specific things I want to know how to do, or those concepts. So what I've tried to do is put a lot of these concepts for you in this leave behind handout, which will be a great tool for you after today's session. So that's the kind of thing that we think is important, is giving you the ability to see these things live and then be able to duplicate them in your own environment. So there's many more secrets. There's only so many things I can cover in our session today. I'm going to try and give you a great overview of many of these. And one of those things that is very helpful is that many of you are involved in sales or customer support. And so whether you're with Microsoft or you're with Google, whichever of those platforms you use, the reality is there's great features built in. So this is Microsoft 365. The Google platform has something very similar, where they offer you a program for managing your email, of course, one for doing your Excel or your spreadsheet type documents, one for managing your notes. And in the case of Microsoft, it's called OneNote. And we're going to talk about a few of those things here today, but there's some really advanced things that are available to you that you might not be aware of. You may have heard of something called Calendly. In the Microsoft world, the program is called Microsoft Bookings, and this is a pretty amazing tool. I have this set up on my website, and so when I'm trying to get people to sign up and get access to my services, they can actually go to my website, and right on that home page of that website, you're going to see they get the ability to set up a complimentary consultation. And we're going to make that available as a special ALA member benefit. You can go to our website and set up a 15-minute complimentary consultation one-on-one with me personally. And what you'll do is you just go into that thing, and this is called this Microsoft Bookings program I just mentioned, that's part of this Office suite, and pick the date and time you want. It actually takes my calendar availability and it publishes it live on the internet to that web page, so that you can grab an appointment with me at any time you like. It'll show you what the availability is on certain days. And so that's a great way to make yourself eminently bookable if you're in the sales end of things or customer service, so people can get a hold of you when they want. And what's interesting about the whole technology aspect of it, you know, the people that I used to work with that, as you can tell by my beard here, I'm a little gray haired, but the point is, people wouldn't always use those type of features, but 75% of our workforce is going to be millennials by 2030. And they're already consuming a great amount of the products and services that we're making available. So guess what? People that are more technology driven, they're quote born with a mouse in their hand, they're familiar with technology, they'll be more inclined to use a service like this than somebody maybe perhaps my age. And that's something that I'm always planning for in the future, is make sure I'm technically adept, not just for the standpoint of my own productivity, but then I'm available to my clients and prospects who want to sign up with our services and programs. And so this bookings feature is included in this Microsoft 365 platform. And you can do something similar in the Google world with Google Calendar. So the point is, this type of product here that you get, this whole package here, it costs about $15 a month per user. That's it. And you're going to get all these great features. You're going to get also OneDrive, which is a great way to be more effective. The OneDrive business package, OneDrive for Business, gives you a terabyte of storage on your computer and all your smartphone and your tablet, 1 terabyte of storage everywhere. And like I said, my handwriting is terrible, as I mentioned to you already, but you get the idea here. There's a tremendous value in these products, and people don't know how to leverage the suite. So today is designed to expose you and show you that there's things beyond just the standard responding to emails or opening your spreadsheet that you can start taking advantage of to be more effective. Another great one of those is OneNote. OneNote is a great tool for taking notes, not just on your computer, but on your smartphone. And there's a nice ancillary product, a third-party product called the Rocketbook. And the Rocketbook gives you the ability to put paper notes and incorporate them in your system. So I have my OneNote app opened here on my computer. And you can see here I have information for our session here today. And but if you see here, there's the Rocketbook, and what the Rocketbook does enables you to write simple handwriting, and then you can scan that in. As you may know, when you're in front of a customer, not everybody's excited about you pulling out your computer or even your smartphone or tablet to take notes. And if they're more inclined to see somebody with some paper. So a great way to do it is to use the Rocketbook. And what the Rocketbook has is it has a special QR code. You scan it with the Rocketbook app scanner. A Rocketbook costs about 25 to 30 bucks. And it's really nice because it's erasable pages. And then you scan it with your app. And as you can see here, it scans it directly into my computer. And in this case, I have it set up to scan into OneNote. So I get all my notes, not just my computer-based notes or my smartphone notes, but even the paper notes all into one vehicle called OneNote. And so that's part of that Microsoft Office 365 suite. In the Google world, they use a similar app. It's called Google Keep. And so the whole idea is to start leveraging these tools and start rounding out your ability to be more effective, whether you're on your phone, your tablet, or your computer. So we've been talking now for about 20 minutes. I'm curious to see what anybody has found so far. So let's go ahead and maybe we can ask a question, chat up, folks, and see if anybody's got any questions so far or what they found interesting. And so interested to know what people say. Go ahead.
So one person did want to know more about the long press on the phone. I guess that when they do that, they get the edit feature.
Yeah, you just want to gently rest your finger on your iPhone screen. And if you do that and not take it up, you should get, if you press pretty hard, it might bring you into the edit mode. But just gently resting your finger on it should bring it up, unless you have a very old iPhone. If you have a super old iPhone, like an iPhone 6, you're probably not going to see that feature. But literally all I'm doing is I'm just holding my finger down on the screen, and the only reason why that wouldn't work on your iPhone or your Android phone is if you have a very old device without that doesn't have that feature based upon the operating system. And again, if you're still having problems, feel free to email me at steve@turnertimemanagement.com, and we'll be happy to answer that question. Okay, so keep those questions coming. And so the whole idea in being more effective with technology is keep in mind that this is buffet style, what we're talking about here today. So not every tip is going to work for everybody. So just take the tips you like, just like you would at a buffet, take the things you like and leave the rest behind. And so there's typically one of three outcomes that people get for this today's session. You might find that you get more than enough information. So we're also going to offer you a subscription to our free bi-monthly e-newsletter. It comes out every 2 months rather, so 6 times a year. And so that will make a link to that on the web page as well. Or you might have a few questions. So I warmly encourage questions. I've been doing this, like I said, 15 years. So if people have questions, and they might very well have already asked by somebody else, or you might want to do more. And if you want to do more, we've included at the end of that handbook that we're providing you, that little playbook, we've got information on our full boot camp training as well as our executive coaching. So no matter what involvement level you want to have with us or none at all, after today's session, you've got some options. And so there's 3 key insights I want to share with everybody as we really talk about technology and how to use it, be more efficient. These are the 3 things that I've gleaned in working with so many different firms over the last 15 years, and before that for 3 years at Clover. And the first one is I've found that most of us are at least part of the time in a technology-driven information overload mode. You ever feel like that? Maybe you feel like you're just keeping your head above water. I used to wear that as a badge of courage, as a badge of honor. I thought, wow, I got a lot in my inbox, and things are really crazy, but that's good. And in one sense, I guess it's good to be busy. but it wasn't good in the sense that I was taking my work home with me, or I was waking up at 3 a.m. concerned with, oh, I forgot to send that email. And so the bottom line is that you can get more effective and productive, and you don't have to become Bill Gates or Elon Musk or Steve Jobs to be more effective. All you need to do is take some time and have somebody help you discover, like we're doing here today, these tips and tools to help you be more efficient. So we can help you get out of reactive mode quickly. And if you go to our website or LinkedIn, you'll see we have, tons of testimonials of people that have been able to do that. And so that's tip number one. That means all is not lost. There's plenty of hope here for you to be more effective without a tremendous time investment. The second thing is, and this is kind of interesting, as my business continued to grow at Turner Time, I found myself getting busier and busier. And the things that I had established at Clover, now I had to kind of update them and keep current. And what I realized was I wasn't any longer taking time every day to plan my next day. Now that's a very low tech idea, but you can use technology to help you get it done. And so what I mean by that is taking a few minutes before your day is over, at the beginning of the day, or rather at the end of the day, and then just do a quick review in the morning, the following morning, to keep control of your email, action items, projects, and scheduling time to get them done is really important. We call that the concept of 15 save 60. In other words, if you'll invest today 15 minutes before your business day ends to make sure you're ready for tomorrow, you're going to save yourself an hour of time tomorrow. No joke. I found that that's the delta, or probably even greater than that. And the way we recommend you do that is using what we call at Turner Time the daily wrap. That is taking a look at some things that are involved on your next business day and say, what am I not going to have finished today that needs to be prioritized for tomorrow? What appointments or reminders that I've sent out need to be dismissed or deleted or scheduled? Do I have preparation time? Do I have travel time now that we're starting to travel again some more? Do I have time blocked so that I'm not showing all my time available? And so the reason why I bring these up is because I got away from doing that, and you might have found you've done that too. And so what happened was my calendar, then I'd wind up doing things the next day and trying to get it done that morning, and then I was behind the 8 ball. So what I have here every day, I'm just going to go over my calendar here and show you that I do eat my own dog food. I do a daily wrap up. And so because of today's session, I went ahead and I did that daily wrap up a little bit earlier because you're my last thing to do today in terms of the appointments. So, but if I open up this is a recurring appointment. I'm going to open up the series, and I've taken that information I was just showing you in the daily wrap, and I've included that in here. So if you drop me an email at steve@turntimemanagement.com, I'll be happy to send you the PDF that talks about how to set up your daily wrap. And here it is right here. Look at not just your calendar, but also look at the notes you've taken. That's why I'm a big fan of OneNote, because it gave me a way to keep all my notes together. I wasn't having to look at 15 Post-it notes and 3 backup napkins. I was able to have everything together. And so the idea here is when you start doing this daily wrap up and you start doing it consistently, you're going to find yourself to be more effective and productive with the daily wrap. And again, if you have questions on that, feel free to ask them. We can slow down in the session and answer those. The third thing I want to stress is that we all need to become, as Nir Eyal, instructor at the Stanford Graduate School of Business, all need to become a little more indistractable. And what do I mean by that? I mean, there's so many things that can pull you off track. And I'm going to give you a big one right now. I'm going to give you a couple more in just a couple moments. But the first one is guess what we do first thing in the morning that makes us more distracted than anything else? How about opening your inbox and starting to do your inbox before you've looked at what's on your schedule for today? I used to do that consistently, and I'd burn an hour or two and then go, oh, wow, I'm late for my meeting, or now I got to leave for my account. And so the point is, you want to take back control of that time. And so one of those big tips is opening to your calendar instead of your email. When you open up Outlook, for instance, or you open up Google, or have your Google Calendar set to open first and look at that before you look at your email. And we've actually included that tip for the Outlook world, actually in that workbook that I mentioned, the playbook we're going to send out to you, it doesn't have all our tips, but it has a number of great ones in it. And that's how to change the default opens when Outlook opens. So every time my Outlook opens, it takes me to my calendar first. I look at what's on my schedule, then I go into email. That's part of that idea of making yourself less distracted. Does that make sense? And here's what's interesting, kind of tailing onto that idea. Gloria Mark at the University of California did a study. It was 200 business people, I believe was the number. And she put them into a few rooms and they went ahead and had them do their jobs, and she watched them. She kind of did analysis, and she found that 44% of the interruptions these people were facing were self-generated. Like maybe folks, you check email maybe a few hundred times too many during the day. You know, some people, we ask a questionnaire before I do our boot camp training, and we ask how many times you check your email. People are saying all the time. Well, maybe you don't need to check it every single moment. And maybe if you start taking back the time, you can be more intentional. So if you're an Outlook user, for instance, this is one thing that used to frustrate me is when you get a new email in Outlook, in the lower right corner, it pops up with a little reminder. I don't know about you. I was like Pavlov's dog hearing the dinner bell. Scooby dog, got to get my Scooby snack. Run over to see what came in. And what would happen is invariably I would get pulled off track. So that's this whole idea I was mentioning, like with the phone or the Outlook or whatever program you're using, about sending an email without looking at your inbox first. That when you start doing these things, you truly can become more indistractable and less distracted. If you're one of those people that ends up at 11 a.m. in the morning before you're going to take a break for a coffee or lunch, and you're finding yourself with 20 different emails open, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. So you want to get that time and control back under. Does that make sense? So that's the whole idea. There's a strategy piece we want to help you implement, which is being less distracted, being more intentional about managing your work time. And we combine that with all these quick type hits that we can do to get things done quicker, like these little tips and secrets we've been talking about already, like using the dictation, or instead of retyping phrases over and over, having some autocorrect shortcut set up. So that's using what we call a turner time, the 60-second rule. And the 60-second rule is pretty simple. It says, if the information you're handling at the moment requires action and should be completed soon, when do you think is a good time to do that? How about right now? So I'm going to show you a couple other tips, and you can do this same kind of thing I'm going to show you in Google. But I'm going to go ahead and show it to you right here. So if I've got an email here and I want to follow up, Melissa just left a review for us on Google. So we've got a lot of good reviews there. We got a 5-star review. Always happy to see those. So let's say I want to make sure I follow up with Melissa. Well, I can take that email and I can just left click it, and I can drag it down to my calendar icon and drop it onto my calendar for tomorrow to follow up on that. Let me show that to you again. So in Outlook on your computer, whether it be a Windows computer or Mac computer, you just left click the email, drag it down and drop it onto the calendar. And then you can go to your scheduling assistant and pick your date and time. So I'm going to say, I'm going to follow up with Melissa tomorrow at 4. Okay. And then I'm just going to go ahead and say save and close. And now that's going to be on my calendar for tomorrow at 4. If you're a Gmail user, you're just going to right click the email, and you'll see the ability to do, actually, you can right click it, or you can go to the toolbar and do a new event, and it will take that information and put it into it. Really a nice feature to help me be more efficient. So that's dragging and dropping to your calendar. The other thing is, and this is a really big game changer for those of you that are setting up appointments, or maybe you're sending out information to people, and you're waiting for them to, you want to do a review with them about things. Let me just go ahead and show you another thing that you can do that's pretty amazing. So here's an email I got from my client, Chris Matson. And now I've got this email. He was kind enough to share with us. We're contacting manufacturers, but let's say I want to have a follow-up call with Chris. This button right here in Outlook is called the meeting button. Watch what happens when I hit the meeting button. It takes Chris's email, it converts it into a meeting, and invites him to that invite. Just one click, hit meeting button, converts it into an email. go ahead and invite him. And now I just can put in my date and time, select my date and time, and send it off to him. And guess what? Now we've got it on both our calendars. I'll give you a great example where this makes a lot of sense. If you've ever had somebody say, hey, thanks for the quote, Bill, or whatever your first name is, and says, hey, I'm going to go on vacation. Why don't you follow up with me in 3 weeks? And then when you tried to call him in 3 weeks, is he there ready for your call? Probably not. So what you can do is simply say, absolutely, I'll be happy to follow up with you. I know you're busy. So what if I put something out for 4 weeks out and we can follow up and see how that quote worked out for you and see if we can get the business. Just a 15-minute invite, put it, you send him the invite, gets on his calendar and your calendar, and now you've got that locked in. And I've been able to use that meeting request feature, both in the Google world and the Outlook world, to make sure that I'm locking in and get that baby commitment from my client or prospect to help move the deal forward. Incredibly powerful tool to be more effective is getting it on your calendar. And that's why I want you to be eminently bookable, whether you use the bookings feature or Google Calendar or Calendly. Any of those tools will help you get more appointments quicker and make those available even on your website and possibly also your LinkedIn page. So, and I'm just going to ask if we have any questions, just feel free to shoot those off to us because we want to answer those as they're coming in. But that's the 60-second rule. So there's a lot of things you can do with your computer and smartphone. You want to discover the ways to do things more efficiently so you can be more effective.
We did have a question that relates to what you were just saying earlier, so we might want to go ahead and answer. Someone was wondering, how long do you suggest to be on your calendar before opening your email? So when you go to your calendar first, they're wondering, what if you had something urgent come in? How do you typically handle that?
Yep. Yeah. So if I go tomorrow, and so I'm going to start off fresh, I'm going to then do exactly what I would do in the real world here. So, because I'm a big believer in being able to walk your talk. So I'm going to my Outlook. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And now you'll see it opens up to my calendar and not my email. And so if this is Thursday morning, we'll pretend, then I've got at 7 a.m., I've got this 15 save 60 final plan for the day. I'm probably not going to take 15 minutes to do that even because I just did it the night before. But that's where I'm looking at my schedule, what's on tap. And I would recommend for most people to, when you can, build some buffer time in. So these are revenue phone calls and emails that I plan to make and send out information because I'm an independent business guy. I'm really kind of a one-man show. I do have one gentleman that works with me out of Bangkok, Thailand, Albert. But the point is that I want to make sure I've got some time. So I've actually put some time in here. And if you're one of those people that wants to meet with me as soon as tomorrow, I'm actually going to mark this time as free instead of busy. So you can actually book me tomorrow morning if you wanted to for your complimentary consultation. But the point is, I'm probably going to take a few minutes. I'm going to look at my schedule, see what I've got here. And then I've got that same type of thing here. There was that Melissa quote we had. We're just going to go ahead and delete that. And then from 4 on, I've also left some more time free. That's the white band down here means that it's free as opposed to busy. So I'm probably just going to spend maybe 2 or 3 minutes, just kind of look at things. Then I'm going to go to my inbox. And that's where if that email came in where, hey, I got to do something, I got to address it, I would do that. And so even if I didn't do that, even if I looked at my email on my phone first and saw, oh, I got to take care of something, I still would have taken a moment to glance at my calendar just so that I didn't get myself in a bind, right? Like, hey, I'm going to start working on solving this problem for somebody, but I've got a call coming up in 15 minutes. That's why, to me, it's so important to make sure you have a handle on what's on that calendar before you jump in. And yes, this is my inbox. There's 14 in it. And there's times I run higher than that, but I do try to keep it well under 100. And that's another thing about our system is it's really designed not to inbox zero, which isn't probably realistic for most of us, but really keeping it under control so it doesn't get out of hand. So hopefully that answers Simone's question. Let's keep those questions coming. All right, so very good. So another key to dealing with interruptions is it possible or necessary to resolve this interruption this minute? And so if it is, do it now. I'll give you a great example. I had a client of mine, a lady named Roxanne Gustitis, has been working with me, boy, for many years. I'll show you what happened here. I'll show you my screen here. In this case, I mentioned to you, the tip I just showed you with the long press also works on your Android phone, not just your iPhone. So in this case, I'm going to show you this one on my iPhone, or on my Android phone rather. I'm going to turn on what's called the Windows link feature. So if you're a Windows user and it's Windows 10, or you go to the new Windows 11, you've got a great feature which is very capable, which is linked to your computer from your smartphone. So you can see here, these are actually my emails that you're seeing here on my smartphone, on my computer screen. Really nice feature to use. It's called Your Phone is the app that you put on your computer. But anyway, she said, hey, Steve, it's time for another IT session. Can you send me your calendar, please? So she emailed that to me, or she texted that to me on my phone. And so what I do is I have a link here. This link, when she clicked it, it actually took her out to my website and to that page that I just showed you. Actually, it's a different page, but took her out to my website. So I texted that to her, and she was able then to go to this page, what gives her all the listing of our different services and set up her session with me right away. So that's why your calendar, managing your time and your calendar is really important. So having the ability to quickly share your availability with people instead of trying to drop everything and get it done right then. Like I could have called Roxanne up, but she's worked with us long enough. She knows it's probably better to set a time in advance. And that's a great thing for you to do, is when you have somebody coming to you urgently with a number of issues and it's going to take some time to unwrap them, don't always drop everything to do it right now. Sometimes you need to, and I would absolutely admit if that's the case, then do it now. But if not, then just like any other professional would do, you called your doctor, my back's hurting. Well, I'm not going to drop everything and get it done right now. No, you got to set some time and come in for appointment. So that's where that electronic calendar meeting request from your smartphone or your computer, or making your calendar available, can really be helpful for helping your clients and prospects get what they need and get a time set to do it right away. All right. Another great concept as we kind of go through these things, we're covering a lot of ground fast because I want to make sure I'm giving valuable information to everybody on this call. And some of these things make more sense for some people than others. But the point is, you can also set up folders in your email for things that need action to make the volume of emails that would normally just be accumulating in your inbox less intimidating. You know, I had one person before they started training and coaching with us. That person had over 60,000 emails in the inbox. And the answer was, well, hey, Steve, at least I know where they all are. They're in the inbox. I said, but how do you find things quickly or know what to do next? He said, well, that's kind of why I called you. So the idea is breaking up that volume of information that you'd normally just let accumulate in your inbox into some individual folders could really help some of you. So for instance, a folder of everything you're waiting an answer on, putting that all into one place. Or maybe it's an open quotes folder, or past issues folder. You want to find out and find if people are still happy with the solution. Or maybe it's things that you need to complete, but you're not going to do them right now. So why look at them 50 million times in the inbox? Consider using some of these different folders to help make that volume of emails less intimidating than would normally just sit in your inbox and accumulate. So these are some ideas of dividing up things, not by subject matter, not by things that are already taken care of, but by things that still need to be done. And that can really help you be more effective, is by dividing up that inbox. So to kind of show you that in my world, here I've got these emails here. And so for instance, I've got an email here on the CTA Smart Brief. I get a lot of newsletters, as you might think, to keep myself up on technology. And so I've got this one here, and I'm going to go ahead, and this is something I definitely want to read because this is about the metaverse. Everybody might be hearing about metaverse. You've heard Facebook just changed their name to Meta. So this is all becoming the latest rage. So I've got to stay on top of this. So the subject line of this email is actually called that. So let's just say it wasn't called that. It was called something else. let's just say we'll just pretend it was called test, but I want to take that information. What's really cool about Outlook, and I do recommend Microsoft 365 over the G Suite platform. Not to say the G Suite platform or Google Workspace isn't good. I just think it's more designed. The Microsoft one is for higher productivity. So I just went ahead and I copied this information here, and I can just literally drag it up to the subject line and put it into my subject line because that's the article I want to read. And then I'm just going to mark it as something important for me. And then I'm going to move it to my waiting for answer folder, or rather my review later folder, my number 3 folder. And then that way, when I go into that folder, it's already identified. And I know that that was one article I definitely want to read before other ones. So that's that idea of breaking up the volume of your email that's in your inbox into some folders that can help you stay more organized, and then not be laboring to look at, oh, I got all these emails I want to read. You're going to have to take some dedicated time to go in and do those. And, you know, maybe it's reviewing those before the next conference call or the webinar, or maybe it's, you know, it's later in the day and you're not ready to start another project. So you want to start carving out some time to do that. So I'm a big fan of time blocking on your electronic calendar so that it reminds you, hey, I want to take a few minutes to do these things. And so that you're becoming more intentional with your time and you're staying up to date on all the things you have to stay current with. So that idea of going through your emails. So this is another one. If you multitask, how to do it effectively. By the way, in general, multitasking is a 20 to 40% decrease in your productivity, which is shocking when you think our computers and our smartphones, what do? They make us multitask. So you really do have to take some time and get control of that if you want to be more effective. But this would be something I definitely would be interested in reading. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark it as a boulder. I'm going to move it into my read review later folder. Now watch what happens when I do that. So I'm not going to deal with this now. I'm going to read it at my convenience. I hit that, it goes into that folder, and what happens? It takes me right on to my next email. Okay, think about that. Normally what you do is when you delete an email, it takes you back to your inbox. You go, oh my goodness, what am I going to do now? And your brain is going to look for easy emails in your list or the shiny bright object, and that's going to grab your attention. But I spend at least part of my time every day going through my emails sequentially and starting at the top of my email list. Why do I start at the top of my email list? Because I want to make sure that if there's emails that have come in recently, I'm not responding that are tied to previous emails. I'm not responding to an older copy of the email. So organizing your emails and going through them top to bottom every so often throughout the business day will help you have greater control of your inbox. And then when somebody calls you and say, did you get my email? You'll have known if you've gotten it already. You might not have it all done, but hey, yeah, I did get your email, Bill, and I got to review it in more detail, but I do have it. I've seen it, and I'll get to it here shortly, or let's talk about it now. So the point is organizing your emails and spending at least part of your time going through them sequentially. And you can just hit the down arrow in Outlook or in Gmail to go on to the next one. Both Outlook and Gmail can be set up to go from one email onto the next. And that's a huge productivity boost. For me, that was a game changer because I used to spend hours and hours in email, managing my email. What do I do next? Where's that email? Oh my goodness. And now it's really just a process of putting stuff in folders and dealing what's in the inbox. And it's cut my email management downtime from probably about 5 hours a day to probably less than an hour, folks. I'm not spending that time managing it because I've established a process. This is a great example here. Jim Smith is one of our clients with a company called Car Company. He went ahead and I sent him the link to my bookings. And so he was able to set up that call. We didn't have to talk or anything. I sent that actually to him last week. So he didn't have to call me back and verify the time. He was just able to look at my calendar and get that time set up. For some of you, even for those of you that are in inside sales, looking to connect with that customer, confirming the specs, confirming the details of the installation, this type of feature could be really helpful for you to set specific times so you don't miss people. The days of just saying, oh, hey, call me Tuesday afternoon really don't work in general. So I try to set up a time for just about anything. If it's important for me to have it on my calendar and make sure I connect with that person or company, I'm going to use my calendar and these booking features to make sure it's on the calendar. Any other questions?
Someone did ask, speaking of filing your emails, if you recommend using rules to automate that
Yeah,
process.
that's an excellent question. So in general, I would say the only things that I like filing away would be, let's say, order confirmations where I don't have to look at each one when it comes in. So if you're getting manufacturer notices on the order was shipped, and you only have to look at those exceptions as exceptions if there's a problem. If you have to review those, then definitely don't put them into individual folders, because I've run into some people and they said, hey, Steve, I really enjoyed the session, you know, and I started ruling everything and put everything into different folders. That can be difficult because if you have, like, let's just say 5 different folders, you're putting them in, and you had to look at those emails when they came in. Now you got to go to 5 places instead of 1. So I would say the only time I'd set up a rule for putting something into a folder when it first comes in, where I'm not actually looking in the inbox, would be if it's something that I don't have to look at immediately. Maybe it's a newsletter, or if it's an order confirmation that you're checking at the end of the day and you're looking through and seeing all the order receipts, that might be okay. Or something where you only have to look at it if there's a problem. Those are the types of things I'd set up rules for, and I would avoid things that you definitely have to look at, because you're just creating another place you have to go to look for those different emails. So great question though. And if you have follow-up questions, those questions, just go ahead and ask them. I'm happy to answer them. It's really important to me in doing this for as long as I have, that what can derail us right away is if we don't have answers to some of those nagging questions. So again, steve@turnertimemanagement.com. Go to our website at turnertimemanagement.com, set up a time with me if I can help you out in any way. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about our boot camp training at the end of today's session. But as you're probably gleaning, there seems to be a world of opportunity here that can help you be more effective. So I'd like to just throw it out here and just get anybody, why don't we get a couple people to give us some information? What tips did you like so far? What did you find interesting so far? We've been talking for quite a while already. What did you find the most interesting so far? Let's go ahead and ask that question if we can to our group and see if our moderator comes back with any comments from people. What's been interesting so far?
Okay, that might take just one moment because
Sure.
the live stream is just slightly behind our actual discussion, just a few seconds. So we might want to give that just a moment.
Sure.
Well, you know what? In the meantime, someone did ask a question though.
Sure.
How do you get your email to roll from one to the next when you are viewing them, like you were doing earlier? I guess they missed the how on that one.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and show that. So I'll show this in Outlook, and then I'll go to Gmail and show you how to do it there too. So for Outlook users, you're going to go to the File menu, and then you're going to go to Options. And then under Options, you're going to see a tab here called Mail, and you're going to go to the Mail tab. And then you're going to scroll down all the way at the bottom and see, that's what's kind of interesting about these features. They're buried many times, and you really need somebody to help you show where they're at. But at the very bottom, you'll see it right down here. After moving or deleting an unopened item, it's normally set to return to the current folder, and you want to change that to open the next item. And that, so for some of you, truly will be a game changer, because then you're able to not go back to the inbox and have to make that decision, which email am I going to handle next? So that's how you change it here in Outlook. And as we're waiting for questions to come in, or rather statements about what you found interesting so far, I'll go ahead and I'll show you how to do that in the Gmail world too. So Gmail is a little bit different vehicle. As you know, it's basically web-based. And so what you're going to do here in Gmail is you're going to go to the Settings menu, and you're going to see All Settings. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go over to the Advanced tab, and you're going to turn on right here, you're going to turn on Enable Auto Advance so that it's enabled. So that means when you delete an email, it will then take you on to the next email or the next conversation. That's a tremendous feature to have. So that's how you do it in both vehicles.
Great.
Yeah. Any
Yeah,
comments?
we've got a couple comments here. Stacy appreciates the dragging and dropping email to your calendar and the daily wrap. We actually, the other person also appreciated the daily wrap planning. And so, someone did ask when they submitted that comment to reiterate about how long should the daily wrap take. They asked, was it about 15 minutes you suggest?
Yeah, I'd say that if you're doing, well, here's what will happen. It might be longer than initially because you're really getting your information all together and you're getting your things planned out. And that's where I talk about boulders in our training. So that's a boulder. So if you quite don't have handle on the daily wrap and you're establishing it, it might take you longer than 15 minutes initially. And that's okay. But you want to get in a cadence and a process, and you want to streamline that. And over time, you can do that. So Steve at turnertimemanagement.com, and I'll be happy to send you that daily wrap list, and you can kind of customize that to your needs. So initially, just to be frank with you, the whole thing that drove me to do the daily wrap was I had heard from a time management expert. They said, hey, you know what, Steve, if you're in a situation and you're waking up at 3 a.m. and you're like, you got all these different things that you're thinking about, then really all you need to do is take a pad of paper and just have it by your bed and write all those things down. Folks, literally, I was doing that for 3 hours and I said, that can't be the answer. So what I'm saying is initially your brain is going to be coming at you at that end of day session and with all these different things. You're going to have to be disciplined in the sense of getting yourself streamlined and getting a cadence. And I am not kidding you at all. This absolutely happened to me. When I started doing this daily wrap over time, I literally found myself being able to get in the car or on the plane flight home or at dinner or 3 a.m. I wasn't thinking about work anymore. Of course, there's times when things would come up. And when I was working for Clover, where my boss would text me or call me late and we had to handle something. But in general, when I started doing the daily wrap and I got better at it and I started refining it, I was literally able to leave work at work. Isn't that kind of a nice idea? With COVID, what's happened to us? Our work is our home for many of us, right? And we're now kind of working out of that. So if you're finding that, I really want to encourage you, there is hope to getting back in control. And it's all about setting boundaries and starting to, in general, doesn't work every time. But when you start to wrap up your day and kind of plan it out before the day ends, you're going to find yourself able to hit the first thing in the morning much more efficiently. So ideally, now that I do it, it's down to 15 minutes, no more than that. Go ahead.
No, that's great. I really personally appreciate that tip. We had a couple more comments. People,
Sure.
One person said that they need to turn off the notification box for their incoming emails.
Yes. Yeah, that's the big one. Yep.
And then Steve, someone named Steve, not you, obviously, Steve Falk, one of our members, he wrote that he appreciates going to writing the email directly instead of to the inbox, and then also opening the calendar in the morning instead of directly to the inbox.
Yeah, no, those are great things. And you know what? And that turning off that email distraction, that we can interrupt ourselves with checking our email. But what's interesting about when we're interrupted with a distraction? Guess what we're not likely to do, folks, after we're done with that interruption? Studies have shown we're not likely to go back to what we were working on before we were interrupted. In fact, the more difficult the work is that you're working at the time you're interrupted, the less likely you are to go back to it. I'm sure you found that happening. You're working on a spreadsheet or some pricing for your customer, and now the phone rings and now you're off track. And next thing you know, you find yourself reading Smart Brief or seeing a YouTube video or something other than what you were working on before you're interrupted. That's why I'm saying your intention is the most precious thing you have in the business world right now, is your time and intention. So make sure that you're having good hygiene habits for these interruptions and distractions, and you're minimizing them wherever you can. And so that goes back to that whole concept of putting your boulders onto your calendar. So yes, I'm going to tell you a daily wrap is a boulder for you. In other words, if I have 3 things I can put in my time management bucket or in a big box, let's say, Those are, I can put boulders in there, I can put rocks in there, and I can put sand in there. And the boulders are the things that are really most mission critical. The rocks are those daily things you're doing to keep business running. You're placing orders, you're calling customers. And then the sand is just all those individual little ancillary things that can suck up a lot of time if you do a lot of them. So which one's most important to put in your time management box on your calendar or on your calendar first? It's going to be those boulders, because you can't put them in later. We've all had this happen. Hey, I got a month to do that project. Oh, I got 3 weeks. I'm okay. Oh, I got 2 weeks. Oh my God, it's doing that tomorrow. So the point is, start putting your boulders on your calendar. And I would definitely say, make that boulder of the daily wrap on your calendar before your day ends. You're going to find a tremendous thing happens over time, and you're going to eliminate where did the day go. So using technology to help notify you, hey, Steve, it's time for the daily wrap. So what's really nice about both Outlook and Gmail is that over here on the right, I've got my little mini calendar. You might have noticed that. So you can set up Outlook. You go to the View tab, and there's this thing called the to-do bar. And now I can have my calendar over here on the right, so I can see what's going on. And I can even left click on any day, and it shows me what's going on for that day without having to go to the full calendar and then getting myself distracted. And in the same case, I can do that same exact thing when I go to the web and I do my Gmail. So if I'm going to go here to Gmail now, and I'm going to get that same ability to go to my Gmail app, and they've got the same type of feature built in. And that's over here on the right. I can go ahead and click on my Google Calendar. I won't have much on here, of course, because I use my Outlook calendar. But you can see here that I can see my Google Calendar right over here on the right. I can also go to my Google Keep. Those are my notes. So I can actually say to my phone, hey, Google, take a note.
What do you want it to say?
This is a test. This is a test to show ALA how this feature works between my phone and my Google.
Saving note.
Check that out, folks. That just showed right up on here. How neat is that feature? Now I can go ahead and I could actually, I was pulling up to my phone because my wrist rather, because I've got a new Google Watch here. It's actually a tick watch, but I can do the same feature through here when I have that on, so I don't even have to grab my phone. But the point is that gives you the ability to get your notes in here. And like I said, you can do your Google Calendar here, you can do your tasks, and you can do the same thing in Outlook as well and see your task list here. So some great features I'm encouraging you to explore. And then if you have questions, let me know. I'll be happy to answer those for you. But the idea is start exploring what's available and using your calendar to schedule these things to help you be more efficient. Okay, not efficient enough? Then what if you just took a little time and put it on your calendar and reviewed this recording and just took little bites and chunks and said, oh, can this tip help me? And started implementing those over time. Or maybe it's not you, maybe it's people on your team. Maybe you have a sales team. We do training for sales teams all the time, every single week, where we're training entire groups to show them how to save time and be able to get more sales done. Because as you know, for many of us, sales has become a smaller part of what we're doing even as a salesperson. So using your calendar to help get these things on track will help you be more effective. And if you set up a folder like an open quotes folder, then make sure you have time on your calendar to review that folder at least on a weekly basis, and you'll be that much more efficient. So all that being said, we've got about another 10 minutes left. So I really want to stress this. If you've got any questions, now's the time to start asking those, because I don't want to run out of time for those questions. And I kind of want to review now with you this little handout that we've already put up on the website, correct?
Yes, you can find that at the very bottom of the page you are on right now.
Okay.
All the viewers, the link to that handout is right there.
Yep. And in here, we talk about a couple different things. I mentioned to you about the ability to be more organized by using some of the other features you have in Windows 10 or Microsoft 365. This is the concept of the 7 silos. And what's interesting about the 7 silos is that we're spending a predominant amount of our time in the business world usually on doing many of these things. So calendar, I've kind of laid that hopefully in your mind as the foundation of your efficiency and your ability to succeed in today's business world. Is if you can't manage your time well and you can't manage your calendar well, then you're just not going to be successful. I don't know what else to say. And that was the big challenge that I had, was I did a terrible management of my time. The second thing is email. Whether you're using Gmail or Outlook or some other vehicle, you want to make sure you get efficient in email and establish a process for being more efficient. Not just, oh, got to go in and do email. No, really look at, how do I establish a cadence or a process for clearing my inbox? For those of you who notice, I've been around a little bit. And so in my old days, there used to be voicemails. I used to get 20, 30 voicemails sometimes. So I had a system for managing those voicemails. I lost that when I went to email and everything started becoming emailed, and I had to develop a system for managing those. For some of you, it might be having a CRM, a place to put all your customer information in. There's a CRM that we recommend that does a lot of work in the manufacturers agency industry for people that are representing multiple manufacturers. It's called Rep Fabric. I highly recommend it. If you do, it's repfabric.com. Mention Steve Turner and Turner Time for some special considerations. It's a great product. But Rep Fabric is all about being more efficient. So whatever CRM you're using, whether it's Salesforce or Dynamics or Rep Fabric, you've got to make sure you're good with those repetitive activities that you're doing well, and make sure it has an add-in that sits in either Outlook or Gmail so you can do those things more efficiently. And then note taking. You know, the days of, you know, we want to make sure we have our salespeople putting their contacts in the database, right? Well, now it's, you got to get those notes too. Because if people are taking notes, and they could be design drawings or information, and now the guy goes on vacation or whatever the case may be, you want to make sure that he's able to share those notes with people. So that's why that's something like the Rocketbook tied to a product like OneNote would be a great tool to help take those notes and get them in one place. For those non-sales related tasks, obviously, if it's sales related, it would go into your CRM, but you want to make sure you've got a way to manage your tasks. So Google Task, or there's a great feature in this Office 365 suite. It's called Microsoft To Do. And so I have a guy in my team called Albert, as I mentioned his name a couple times. So I go ahead and I'm able to take an email, convert it into a Microsoft To Do task, and then drop it onto his list here, just like this. I just left click and drag it onto his list. And then we review this list to make sure that we're both in sync with the activities he's got. So managing your action items or action items for people on your team is really important to be efficient with that. File storage, whether you're using Google Drive or OneDrive or SharePoint, not sending files anymore, sending links to the files. How much more efficient is it to send a link to a file instead of sending the actual file, so you don't have to update the file yourself manually? So if I go into Excel, let's say, for instance, and this works very similar with Google and the Google Sheets world, I actually have the ability to go in here, and we just have a client we just started doing some work with called StreamKey. And so everybody fills out the questionnaire. So before we do boot camp training with people, we send out a questionnaire. People fill it out. They tell us how many emails are in their inbox. Really, they do. And they tell us what are some of the challenges they're facing. You know, how do you manage your action items, et cetera, using a CRM? So we ask these questions. And so I was able to share this with the business owner. And I sent him a link to the file. So as I was updating the file, he was actually able to see, he would be able to see when I went ahead and highlighted a column and put it in red, for instance. And then what you can do is you can go back and you can do the version history and see who modified the file and when. So if you're not sending links to files, you're still sending files back and forth, whether they're Excel files or PowerPoint files, consider using a file storage device such as OneDrive or SharePoint or Google Drive to make that information sharing more accessible. And then finally, wrapping that up with some sort of collaboration tool, we highly recommend Microsoft Teams. Zoom is great for these video conferences, but Teams does even a lot more than that. And it's one of the things we consider, we tell people about in our boot camp training. So we've got about 5 minutes left. So do we have any more comments or questions?
Yes, we did have a few come in. One person said, I am a longtime Outlook user and ready to set up Office 365 on a new computer, but I love the Outlook search feature that can bring up old emails or conversation threads. Some are years old. Can I set that feature up on 365? Any special settings?
Yes, you can. And so a couple things you want to do is that this is called your quick access toolbar. We didn't really have a chance to talk about searching, but I am going to give you a real quick tip on searching that can save everybody a lot of time. But make sure you add the show as conversations. Your Microsoft 365 Outlook is going to be very similar to the Outlook version you have right now. There'll be some positive enhancements, but you're going to want to take the view tab and then right click on show as conversations and put it up at the top. And that will help quite a bit. And then the other thing you want to do is just to talk about searching in general is when you search, just don't put in somebody's name. And this works whether you're on Outlook or Gmail, but rather use the icons here. And if I'm looking for an email from Albert, let's say, put in Albert, I get 150 responses, but then what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the game, because now I'm going to go to subject and I'm going to put in the subject was playbook. And now I'm down to 1. So using multiple criteria, not just somebody's name or what's in the subject line, but combining those can help you really save a lot of time. Other questions
Yes.
or comments?
Yeah, Jose wanted to thank you for a great presentation. And then he's asking, is there a way to sync Outlook calendar and Gmail calendar?
Yes, your Gmail calendar will generate a link that you can get through the Gmail app. And then you can go ahead and copy and paste that and put that in there. Same thing you can do with iCloud as well. You can do those same type of create a web link. You want the web calendar link or the iCal calendar link, and that you can bring right into Outlook and share it in there.
Great, that's very helpful. Someone else was asking kind of about the bolder tasks that you were discussing earlier. They asked, what about a bolder task that is going to take a long time to complete? Do you suggest putting it on your daily wrap up every day? And should you set an appointment for how long you plan to work on it each day?
Yes, that's a great question. I kind of have that right here. So what you want to do is you want to consider that you're going to have to take that project and probably have to break it up. So it doesn't have to be a huge block of time. You just have to be consistent. So I found, just like taking regular deposits out or making regular deposits for a savings account, or you're having your mortgage withdrawn, doesn't have to be a huge block of time, just adequately planned. But I wouldn't do that part of the daily wrap up. I set some different time for that, so that my daily wrap up is really focused on my day. And then I'd set this other project time and try to do that in at least half-hour increments. Other questions?
Okay, great. It looks like we just have one more, and someone just wants to know, it's a great wrap-up question. What is the most important, the top tip that you would leave us with in terms of time management?
Yep, I would say is start using your calendar as more of a planning tool as opposed to just your appointments. Really start, and even personal things, you can put them on your business calendar and mark them as private so they don't show up. That would be the number one, would be using your calendar more effectively. And then just a general tip is consider that technology can help you. And so, as I mentioned to you, we have our boot camp training, and that boot camp training is $350 per person and includes a detailed handbook. This one we're providing you is 28 pages, but the one that you get with the boot camp is 70 pages. And it's designed to help you be more effective with your Gmail. We have a Gmail version, Outlook, we have an Outlook version, Mac, we have a Mac version. And the whole idea is that training is going to help you save an hour or two more a day. So if you want to start that without that training, the key is start looking at technology a little bit differently as your friend instead of your time drainer. So, and if you are interested in that training, and you want to do it for your team, it's $350 a person, and every fourth participant is free. So if you sign up for a total of 8 people, you only pay for 6. And then we also have on that same page information on professional tech web coaching. Maybe you as an executive or business owner or salesperson just want some time to help get more efficient. We have both packages, 6-session coaching packages. We also have a package for 3 months, detailed, in-depth coaching that we do that really helps you transform your business life entirely, and not just you, but your whole company. So we've got a number of different options, and that puts us at the end.
Yes, thank you so much, Steve. I know I personally found it very helpful, and I'm sure our members did as well. We really appreciate you being here today.
It's been my pleasure. And folks, don't be shy. Steve at turntimemanagement.com. Be happy to answer your questions. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.